We might have to get used to this. Over the next few months, all our lives could change as the country changes too, to combat coronavirus. The Prime Minister warned it will pose a national challenge, but one that we will get through. It's why today he set out the government's battle plan to help tackle the potential crisis.
It is highly likely that we will see a growing number of UK cases. And that's why keeping the country safe is the government's overriding priority.
In order to do that, he said measures to delay the onset of the virus could be implemented. Schools may close, public events scrapped, and employees encouraged to work from home. At its worst, if the disease can no longer be contained, non-urgent hospital operations could be cancelled along with other procedures and patients cared for at home. If large numbers of the police fall ill, they will focus on serious crime and maintain public order. The army on standby to help. Health officials are currently trying to contain the disease, but as the number of cases increases, the government won't have a choice but to move to the next phase.
There will come a point potentially where the amount of transmission either in the UK or, equally likely, everywhere in the world is so great that actually the idea of containing, which is to say essentially getting rid of this virus completely, ceases to make sense. We have not reached that point, but we could reach that point.
Up to 80% of us here could become infected, and until now the World Health Organization estimated 1% would die. Given the global death toll across 79 countries, though, the mortality rate has now risen.
Globally, about 3.4% of reported COVID-19 cases have died. By comparison, seasonal flu generally kills far fewer than 1% of those infected.
12 new cases were reported in the UK today. This school on the Wirral closed for a deep clean after a step-parent of one of its pupils was infected. The NHS is on its highest state of alert, and hospitals have been asked to prepare to use acute wards to treat infected patients as well as their specialist units.
The NHS needs support in order to cope with what could become a very, very serious problem throughout our health service.
There was speculation today even the Queen was taking measures to protect herself in a highly unusual move. She wore gloves during an investiture this afternoon. But that's not official advice the Prime Minister was recommending.
I'm shaking hands continuously. I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody, you'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands.
Cinema goers in Suffolk weren't just taking in a film tonight, but staff were also taking their temperature, measures we might have to live with for many months to come. Emily Morgan, News at 10.